Hey everyone, I hope all of you are doing great. So this is going to be a new playlist in which we are going to be discussing about Redis. So let's get started. Here is a documentation of Redis. So most of the time we are going to refer to the documentation of Redis. I don't really like to memorize anything, so I also want to give you the reference from where I have read all the contents. So Redis documentation is a good place to see all the documentation, official documentation. Okay, so what is Redis? Redis is an open source in-memory data structure store. It is used as a database, it is used as a cache, it is used as a message broker, it is used as a streaming engine. So there are so many applications of Redis. Okay, you can use it in lot many ways. Especially people are using it when they want to create some kind of caching for their application. That's a good use case for Redis. And basically for anything where you want to keep the data in memory, and Redis is one of the best databases, or I will say the best database which I have seen. So now let's go on and start doing some hands-on with Redis. Again, if you want to continue reading, you can go on and read the features and all, but since this playlist is going to be more like to making you more of a job ready, okay, it's not for a student where we are going to learn a lot of theoretical stuff. We are going to learn about some practical stuff here. We are going to see how actually Redis is being used in a job environment or in production environment. So that's why we are going to do more hands-on, and for any kind of documentation purpose you can always refer to Redis documentation. Okay, now I think having said that, there are a couple of things which I would like to tell here. So let me just go to here. I think one thing is Redis, even though it is an open source, but Redis do also have Redis Enterprise. So if you want, let's say, support of Redis, you can get in touch with Redis Enterprise. Okay, so that is where you will get the support for the product. Again, if you want to get to know more information about Redis, you can go through some of the sponsor information or Redis Enterprise information. This is where you will get to know all the information about Redis, especially if you are looking for 24/7 support. Okay, especially some of the organizations who are running Redis in production environment, they don't want to run any product without any OEM support. So Redis Enterprise is the solution for that. Okay, so now I have a Linux server. So this is the server where I am. So let me just run who am I. I'm running it. I'm logged in as a root user, and this is my current working directory. And okay, let me show you the host name. Okay, so this is the host name. It is just called localhost. So this is the server information. It is just a server which I'm running on Oracle VirtualBox Manager. Okay, so you can run the server either on Oracle Virtual Manager for your practice, or maybe if you want, you can if you already have access to any of the server, you can continue installing Redis on that. So now in order to install, again, I got very good documentation here on DigitalOcean. We can follow this documentation. Installation is pretty straightforward. First of all, we have to, if you are on CentOS like me, let me just also show you the release version. So here you can see I'm on CentOS Linux release 7.9. Okay, so if you are on CentOS, then first of all you have to install EPL release, which is like extra package for enterprise Linux, because some of the packages are not already available in Yum package manager. So you have to install these additional packages, especially if you want to install Redis. So you are going to copy this and going to run it here on the server. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and run it. Now I do have already done it. Okay, I have already installed it. So but still I just want to show it to you. Here you can see, since I have already done it, everything is already updated. There's nothing much to do. Okay, so, but when you are running it, you will see that there are installation which is taking place. Okay, so this is only about installing package. And then we need to install Redis services. So for that one, we can again copy this command, sudo yum install redis -y. You can paste it here. Just copy it, nothing to do. I just need to copy it here, need to paste it, and run it. Okay, so once you run it again, you can see since this software is already installed on this server, so it's just saying nothing to do, but in your case the installation will take place. So once the installation is done, you can start the services by running this command. Here you can see I'm just going to paste it here, and you can see it is saying service is basically already started. Okay, and we don't really see any status here, but if you want to see the status of the service, you can just change this start to status, and here you can see that Redis is already running. It is in the active state. If you want to stop Redis services, you can again change this command from status to stop, and then we can see the status again, and this time you can see it is showing that it is basically inactive. Okay, here you can see. Now I'm just going to start it again. And one more important configuration which you would like to do is let's say if, when you reboot the server, or let's say when this server gets rebooted for any reason, maybe it is a graceful restart of the server, or maybe you have some planned activity, and as part of that you need to restart this server. So in that case, do you want Redis to come back up automatically? If you want Redis to come back up automatically, in that case you can enable the boot time start. Okay, so in that case you can copy this command sudo systemctl enable Redis, and you can run it here. Okay, so now whenever I restart Redis, or not Redis, whenever I restart this server, in that case Redis is going to start automatically. Okay, so that's the benefit of this. That's all. I think we are pretty much done. We are ready with Redis. So now let me clear the screen, and in order to connect to Redis, we are going to use Redis CLI. Okay, so command for that is Redis CLI. Hit enter, and now you can see once we do Redis -CLI, our prompt has changed. It is showing 127.0.0.1, which is localhost, and 6379 is the default port on which we connect to Redis. Okay, so basically we are connected to Redis server on the local server on the same machine basically, and is running, the service is listening on port 6379. Okay, now I'm just going to exit from here, and I want to show you the configuration file. So when you install Redis, there is configuration file which is available under /etc/redis.conf. So I'm going to open up this file, and there are some settings which I want to show you. So here I'm going to first of all, I'm just going to search for password. Okay, so here I'm going to enable authorization. Okay, so just give me a moment. I'm looking for that information. Where is auth? Okay, yeah, I think it's called require pass. Okay, so this is the line. Now by default you will see this statement. Okay, it is started with hash symbol. So whichever statement is started with hash, it is commented out. So if you want to make this into or basically if whatever is hashed, it is not really taking effect. It is only for like a comment. It is only for the documentation purpose. So now in case we want to enable password authentication for Redis, in that case we can either you can remove this hash, or you can just go to the new line and type require pass, and you can type the password which you want to use in order to log into Redis. So in this case my password is just password, but yeah, you should be keeping some complex password. And that's all. Now we can save it. Sorry, we can save it, exit. Now we are going to connect to Redis CLI again. Now let's say we want to run, or we want to write some data to Redis database. Now this video probably we are not going to discuss in detail about Redis data structure or Redis data types, but I still want to let you know, if you want to store some data, okay, we can commonly use a set command. So the syntax is like set, and then we need to provide key value pair. Okay, so let's say I want to store a name, and I want to store the name which is called John. Okay, now here you see, if I wrote set name John, it is giving me the error saying no authentication. Okay, authentication is required. So now we cannot interact with Redis because we have enabled authentication, and with now we will need to authenticate ourselves in order to perform any operation with Redis database. So what we need to do is we need to write auth, and then we need to provide the password which we set up in the configuration file. So our password is called password, so it says OK, which means now we have been authenticated. Now we are going to run the same command which we ran previously, which is we are setting up a key, and the value of that is called John. So here you can see we got the response OK, which means the operation has been performed successfully. Now we are going to get the value back, and we are going to see what we get. Okay, so I'm writing that I want to get which keys value which I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm looking for the value of the key name, which is called name. Okay, so hit enter, and here you can see we are getting the output of John. Okay, so this is what we set up. So it means we were able to write successfully to Redis, and we also read data from Redis. So this is like, once you install, this is something which you can do to make sure Redis is working. Now if you want to remove or you want to delete all the data which is available in Redis, you can commonly use flush all command, hit enter. Now what has happened is whatever data which was stored in Redis, it has been removed, it has been flushed out. Okay, so you can see this command is pretty dangerous, and you shouldn't really allow users to be able to run this command. So again, if you want to, ideally, in order to prevent someone from running this command, what you can do is you can go to this configuration file of redis.conf, and you can rename this command. Okay, you can rename this command to blank string. We are going to see that in future, but I still just wanted to let you know that if you run flush all, it is going to remove all the data. So let's say if I do get name, now you can see it is giving me nil. Okay, previously before we ran flush all command, we were getting the output, but now we just get nil because there is nothing there in Redis at the moment. We flushed everything. Okay, now let's move on and see a couple of things here. Let's go to getting started documentation here, and now let's say once you install Redis, you just want to see whether Redis is up and running. In that case, we can use ping command. Okay, so I'm going to exit from here because currently we are inside Redis CLI prompt. So I just exit, and now I'm onto the server. So let's clear the screen, and we can do Redis CLI ping. Now you can see since we have enabled authentication, so we are not getting the response. So we also have to pass -a and the password which we put there in the configuration file. Okay, so now hit enter. Okay, now one thing you need to make sure is that first you need to authenticate, and then you can run any command. So in this case, you can see we are giving Redis CLI, then we are authenticating ourselves, and then we are running ping command, and in return we got pong, which means we are successfully able to interact with Redis server, and Redis server services are working fine. So that's how you can make sure things are working fine. Now let me just remove required password for the sake of simplicity, because each time while we are learning, it is just going to give us errors, and each time we have to provide the authentication. So I'm just going to remove it for the time being, and so I'm just going to disable it, save it, and now we can restart Redis services. So command for that is systemctl restart redis.service, and then we can see the status. Redis is running. Now we can do Redis CLI, or let's clear the screen first. Let's do Redis CLI ping, and we got the response without Redis asking us for the authorization, so which seems everything is okay. Now let's go on and go further, deep dive into the documentation. Okay, so here it is talking about setting or writing some value to Redis. So this one we have already tested, and securing Redis also I have already shown you how you can secure Redis. One more thing which you can do is other than enabling authentication, the other thing which you can do is if you go to the Redis conf file, now here you can see bind. Let's search for bind. Okay, so here you can see the configuration. Okay, basically what it means is from which server this connection will be allowed to Redis server. Okay, so let's say if you want you don't want connections to be allowed on Redis server from any random IP addresses, or in another scenario, if you know that okay, you are always going to connect to Redis server from only application server, in that case you can bind the port of application server. So in that case all the connection which is coming from that application server is going to be connected to Redis server, but if any request is coming from any any other XYZ server, in that case Redis is not going to allow those requests to be connecting to Redis server. Okay, so I'm just going to exit from here. This is how again you can secure Redis. I think for beginning video this is enough. Now in our upcoming tutorial we are going to be learning more about Redis. So I'm just going to keep our first video short. This was more of an introductory lesson in which we installed Redis and we saw how we can connect to Redis. Also we saw how we can write data to Redis, how we can read data from Redis. So that's all in this video. Stay tuned for next video, and if you have any request or if you want to understand any topic in more detail, do let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you again.